Hi everyone. So today I'm going to do a video about the bedding that I use in my sugar glider cage. I'm going to make this a pretty quick video because it's pretty short and simple and to the point. There are like a couple of different varieties of bedding that you can use in the bottom drop tray of their enclosure, and there's also different beddings that you can use on the actual inside of the cage. I opted for the Double Critter Nation cage, so my cage comes with a pull-out tray that I can put the bedding that I use on the bottom of it to help eliminate smell and all of that, and just make sure the cage doesn't collect too much of their pee and poop stink. So this bedding that I use is super good. It smells amazing, and it's also really safe for them, which is the most important thing, because a lot of different beddings that you can find on the market for small pets are not safe for gliders due to their very sensitive respiratory systems. So a lot of beddings that you'll find at the pet store will have, they say it's pine, which is perfectly fine. That's what you want, but you want to make sure when you get a bedding that it's kiln dried pine, just because when they do make the bedding, there are little particles of it that break off, and those little particles can fly up into your glider's lungs and cause them all sorts of upper respiratory issues and other sort of like breathing problems that they can develop over time if they consistently have the pellets or a different type of bedding that you use in the cage with them. So I opted for these right here. It's called Feline Pine. They're kiln dried pine pellets. They're made for cat litter, but it works just as well for small animals of all different kinds, but specifically more so for sugar gliders, just because if they do ingest them, it won't really hurt them. It's made from a material that they can pass through their system pretty easily. Now, if you notice that your gliders are eating a lot of them, it would probably be smart to take them out of the cage, just because you don't want them to ingest too much of a foreign substance, because that can cause what's called impaction and basically give them issues with using the bathroom. They won't be able to poop because it'll stuff them up. The way that the pine pellets work is like they absorb water. So if you get them wet, they turn into like kind of like a mush, but they come pretty solid. I'm going to open this up so you guys can get a view of what they look like. And when you go to the store, it comes in this huge bag. So that's really awesome because it'll last you a decent amount of time. I honestly change the pellets at the bottom of this probably like once every 2 weeks. It's probably more recommended to do it once a week, but I only have 2, so they don't really accumulate that much of a smell. They're both females, so there's no intense stink that comes from them. Like if you were to have a male, an unneutered male does for sure stink, because they have scent glands on their head and they also have scent glands on their chest, but also their pee just smells a lot stronger, because males are usually trying to put out a pheromone to find other females / mark where their territory is. But yeah, anyway, I just had one in my hand and I was going to show you guys what they look like, so I'll grab another one from out of here. But yeah, they come like this. Pretty small, pretty compact. You can't really crush them or anything. They're really hard. But when you add water to them, they can become kind of like a mush. Like you can kind of see it in the bottom of here, but I'll turn the camera around to get like a really good visual of what it looks like. And I'll also show you guys how I change them out from the bottom. So as you can see in the cage, there is a bottom grate right here that doesn't have any bedding on it. So the gliders aren't walking on the pine pellets. It actually is on the bottom like this. This part pulls out. So I'm gonna put this down and then show you guys how that works. These are the pellets up close. So when you're going to the store to look for them, you know exactly what to look for. You can get these at Petco, and I got these ones at PetSmart. They had them on sale for, I think they were like 15 bucks for this big bag, which is awesome. It's 40 pounds. That's 40 pounds of litter that you can use, and that'll last you, depending on how many gliders you have and how messy they are. This one bag can definitely last you over a month or 2, I'd say. I go through like a bag of this every 3 months, which is not bad at all. So it says Feline Pine on the front, 100% natural pine, original, non-clumping, which is very important because you don't want too many solid pieces in there. You'd rather just be like individual pellets, because then if they reach their hands down into it, they aren't grabbing huge chunks of mess. They are more than likely just going to grab a couple of pellets and throw them around. They will toss them around on the bottom of the cage sometimes, but I rarely ever find them making it outside of the cage confines. So that's also really nice to your carpets around, because I do have carpet on the floor around their cage. And I also put this rug here just to kind of make sure no extra things get on my actual carpet. So yeah, when you're going to buy pellets, you can either get equine pine pellets. You can find those at like any farm and fleet or any like big farm store. They normally have them for horses, but it's just super important to make sure that they are kiln dried. Can't emphasize that enough. Kiln dried is the way to go. So I'm going to show you guys how I change them. Ugh, this bag is so heavy. I'm going to try to use one hand also. So as you can see here, there is a grate, and then the pellets are actually at the bottom underneath that grate so that they can't actually get to them. There is a little bit of a mess here. This is where it's clumped up the most because their wheels are up here and they tend to poop and pee a lot when they're running, so it usually just goes right down here. I was contemplating getting some sort of maybe like litter box situation to put here to absorb even more of the pee and poop before it even reaches the bottom of here, but I just feel like they would probably play around in it, so it might be pointless. But yeah, to go ahead and do this, here I have a straw, because I let them play with plastic straws. It's really fun for them. I'll like put it in the cage like this, and they have like the best time trying to dig them from either side of it, and they just like love to chew on them. But if you have these in here, just make sure you don't leave them in for too long, because you don't want them biting on it too much. If they break off little pieces, they could choke, so it's usually supervised. This one I only had in here since yesterday, so I'm gonna take that out. But yes, so I'm gonna pull this from here, hopefully. I can do it with one hand. And this might kind of freak them out, because they don't really like when I mess with like the bottom of the cage too much. It kind of scares them. But as you can see here, these are the pellets. There's like old food in there, some poop, all that good stuff. But I just slide this whole thing out and put it on the ground. I'm probably gonna set the camera up on something so I can do this with both hands. All right, so I'm going to change this out now. When I do this, I usually keep a garbage bag nearby just so I have somewhere to put the old pellets in and transfer into new ones. And it just makes it way easier and way less of a mess, because you can put the bag around the edge of the outside of the tray and pretty much just dump in all the pellets. It's like the easiest way to do it. So I am going to slowly slide this out. Mirage is already looking around like, what are you doing? I see her little face poking out of the pouch. Oh, yeah. Woo. And there she goes. They both just ran out of there. They don't like it. So yeah, this is the bottom grate of that tray. As you can see, it's pretty good size. It fits the whole bottom of the cage. And I'm gonna set that down on the ground. And I'm gonna get this bag. Oh, there's Mirage. You can see her in the back, kind of looking around like, what are you doing, dude? Like, why are you messing with my house? I'm just trying to make it clean. And now she's on the wheel running. Let's see if I can get up here to her. Hi, Mirage. What are you doing? Are you running on your wheel? Yes. Well, now she stopped moving. She's kind of just like, what's going on? So I'm going to take the bag and try to set it on the very edge of this. Oh, this stinks. This does not smell awesome anymore because the pine smell is kind of dissipated a little bit. But the best way to do is make sure it's on both sides evenly. So see how it is up here on the front, just so none of the pellets can really escape when I go to do like the flip. But I never really just flip the whole thing just because there's so many pellets on here. I don't want them to like fall over the carpet. So what I also do is before I put the pellets in, I put a piece of paper towel underneath so I can kind of make a poop burrito basically. So I roll it up like so. And I'm just rolling it. And I lift this up so I can just shove in all that grossness and poop. The paper towel trick honestly saved me so much time with getting like the bulk of the stuff, or I'm sorry, the pellets in here. So as you can see, I got a decent amount of them off. There's still like a good amount right here, but I'm going to give this a little shake and a shimmy. And for the most part, they should go in there pretty easily without much having to touch it. I would recommend using gloves probably, just so you don't have to like touch any poop, but I'm so used to them pooping and peeing everywhere, and it's like it's no big deal. And just like that, it's all in the bag. So from this point, I'm going to spray the bottom with a little eucalyptus oil to make it smell even better. Eucalyptus oil, essential oil, 100% pure, is great for gliders just because it can't really hurt them in small amounts, and eucalyptus is good for them. And the scent doesn't make them feel like they have to overcompensate and overmark for it not really smelling so much like them anymore. Just because they are super scent-based animals, so when their environment doesn't smell as much like them as they would like, they kind of freak out a little bit about it. They're like, where am I? So to make sure it's something that they can handle, I actually put something in that's like good for them. So I'm gonna get some paper towel and put that at the bottom of this, and then I'll show you how I put the pellets on. Okay, so now that I have the bottom all nice and clean, I'm going to use the eucalyptus oil on there. Just do a couple of drops throughout, not too many, just enough to where it has a smell, but it's not overwhelming for them. And just like that. And then I'm gonna take this paper towel. I usually do about 5 pieces. I don't use alcohol on the bottom of this, that's for something else, so that's just there, so ignore that. But usually 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 pieces will cover the bottom of this pretty well. I usually do it kind of upside down just so it creates this kind of little barrier between the outside of it and the inside. It kind of keeps the pellets in there a little bit easier. Bottom tray all lined with the paper towel. I'm going to take the pine pellets and distribute them. Oh, whoa. Like I said, this bag is heavy. It's 40 pounds, but it'll definitely last you a while. And now I got a couple of pine pellets on the floor, but that's okay. It's not a huge deal. So my method with this is to just kind of just spread it out somewhat evenly. You can see here, I'm spreading them out throughout the entire bottom. Now it doesn't have to be a whole lot of them. You can definitely leave some white spaces just because they don't poop and pee a whole lot, but you do want some good coverage just so that you don't get any smell. Honestly, I'd say that's almost perfect. You do want this to be a little bit more covered on this part. And when I put it in, I usually adjust it to make sure that the most, like the highly concentrated part of pellets is right where they poop and pee the most, so it can absorb the most scent. And I can get the most I can out of these pellets, because like I said, they do work really well, but you do have to change them. Like right now, just pulling them out onto the tray made this entire room smell so much better. Like it smells almost like potpourri. It's really awesome. So as you can see, the grate is still out, and this is where it goes. So it's not inside the cage, it's at the very, very bottom on the outside. So all of the food that they drop and throw around, because they're very messy, and poop and pee goes down there. So I'm going to try to finesse this back in here. It's a little bit difficult sometimes, just because it fits so perfectly. You have to do it just right. But I do one of these, tuck in the paper towel some so it doesn't rip, and it defeats the purpose of having it in there. Also keep it down so that they don't want to try to pull up on it and bring it up into the cage. But sometimes they will play with little pieces of paper towel, and that's annoying. But, and it just goes in real easy, just like that. And they're still at the very top, not loving the fact that I am doing this. So, but yeah, this is basically how you set this up. So from there to there, you can see how it looks. And it looks pretty good. I know we put the most concentration of the pellets right here because I said their wheels are up this way. So most of the poop and pee falls down that way. But keeping it at a higher level really helps with the smell. Thank you guys for watching this video. This is how I change the bedding in my glider's cage and what bedding I use. Again, it is the, oh, what are we doing? Again, it is the Feline Pine KILN DRIED. That is the best and only pine pellets you can really use for them. Not the only, you can use equine pine, but you just have to make sure it's specifically KILN DRIED. I think they're both really trying to go into my shirt. But here is Maple. Being super cute. Thank you for not using the bathroom on me too much. Ooh, don't fall. She's looking around like, where can I go? And then here's Mirage. You're being very good now. And now we're on the pole. Yeah, I have a pole in my apartment and she loves to climb on it. It's like a really fun toy for them. But I'm trying not to grab you too much. I'll put you right here. Mirage went in my shirt. You can see her there. Maple just really wants to be on the pole. She thinks she's a stripper. Come on, Mapes. Don't let them know that you got these skills that they need to pay for if they want to see. Alright, guys, thanks for watching. Y'all have a nice day.